Welcome to Classic Value Investors and Microcap Explosions. This is Mariusz Konieczny. And today I want to talk about copper versus gold. Okay? So, very interesting dynamic is happening because not too long ago, gold reached like 2100 per ounce. And everybody was so bullish about gold, and then all of a sudden it's selling off now, and people are being bearish on gold, and more specifically on the miners. You see, with the miners, it's kind of, with the gold miners, it's kind of like this. When gold is going up, they never priced in the new price. It's always below because people don't believe it's going to go up. And then when gold goes down, then they sell off again because now gold is going down, right? So even though the higher prices weren't priced, when the lower prices come, they get double whacked. But the reason why I want to talk about gold is because you remember how in the previous videos I said that I don't want to be a buyer of gold. I want to be a seller of gold, or a seller of some kind of project to the believers in gold. Now, I've studied gold for more than 10 years now, and I totally understand why people like gold, saying that gold is money and all that. But the problem is that gold, like Bitcoin or like Tesla, is like a religion, okay? And I'm not here to say that one religion is right or wrong. I'm just saying it is like a religion, okay? You have gold bugs that believe that gold is money, even though at this point it's not money. It used to be money, but they believe it's money. They believe it's going to be money again because of the money printing by the Fed, and that gold price is somehow related to the money supply in the global system. So it doesn't matter if you believe in this or not. What matters is that the group of people that believe in it, okay, they're very smart people. They understand they study the monetary history. They understand how the monetary system works. But the problem is that in order for the price of gold to go up, you have to have non-gold bugs, the generalists, believe in the same theory. In other words, they have to join that religion. Okay, without them, it's only gold bugs that are talking to each other, and the price of gold is doing nothing, or it's going down. And the thing about the generalists is that these generalists don't study the monetary history. They don't understand the money supply. They don't care about any of that. They only care about these things when the price of gold is going up, or they only care about these things when something wrong is happening around the world, like what happened with the COVID, right? The governments around the world started printing money and all that. Then for a moment they believed in it, and I see that they joined that gold bug religion, I don't know, once every 10 years, and they stick with it for I don't know, for months, and then they join another religion like Bitcoin or Tesla or whatever it is, right? And I'm not here to bash Tesla or Bitcoin, but it's a freaking religion, just like gold is a religion. Now, when it comes to copper is absolutely not a religion, okay? Copper, unlike some people say that gold, for example, has utility and has usage in jewelry and all that, in all that other stuff, in electronics. Yeah, gold has usage, but let's be honest. Most of the time, gold is bought by investors, okay? And investors are very flaky. One time they are chasing this shiny object, one time they are chasing this shiny object. Today they're chasing Tesla or Bitcoin or whatever it is that's going up and popular. That's what they're chasing, right? So I don't really like to get involved and be dependent on investment sentiment, right? So when we go back to copper, I don't need investment sentiment. I don't need flaky investors chasing the shiny thing. Copper is a very interesting dynamic, is because, like, if we go back, I don't know, 20, 40 years, when I was little, copper was in a tough shape. But at that time, the demand for copper, if you looked around the world, 30, 40 years ago, I mean, what came to my mind as far as global economic powers? Well, some countries in Europe were powerful. United States was definitely number one. And then there was, Japan, right? And I didn't really hear much as a kid, about other countries. China, all I knew about China is that, Bruce Lee, Kung Fu, and people riding bicycles, right? And then everything changed, especially starting in 2000. China just had this growth spurt, and now is becoming, very soon is going to be number one economic power, surpassing United States because of the number of people that they have, right? So before 2000, copper consumption wasn't that high, and a copper price was very low. So at that time, the only people that were interested in copper or copper projects were the people that were seeing what's happening in China, and they were kind of buying ahead of time, right? And from 2000 to like 2008, I don't remember the numbers, I mean, the copper price exploded, right? And now when you have countries, and it's not just China, like if you look at some of the socialistic countries in the Eastern Europe, like if you go there now, they look just like United States. Everybody has a smartphone, everybody has a car. I mean, it's a completely different world than it was 30 or 40 years ago. So now you have economic powers like the Western European countries. Now you have Eastern European countries. Now you have China. You have United States. And now what we're forgetting now is another power that's growing is India. I mean, more than 1 billion people, and they're going to be the next China. So when you look at copper consumption and anything with a cable, cell phone, the car, dishwasher, anything with a cable requires copper. And now you have more and more of the population becoming, middle class, wanting these kinds of electronic devices. And so the consumption of copper is being maintained, and it's also getting increased because, people in China, they're not going back to riding bicycles, right? Everybody is going forward, and it's not just those countries, it's everybody, even Africa. Everybody is becoming wealthier. And now the problem is that also, if you look at some statistics as to how much copper was found over the last 10 years, it's barely anything. It's barely anything. And a lot of money has been spent on exploration for copper, and barely anything has been found. The mining industry, doesn't have enough copper to satisfy the demand. And now this is finally just starting to catch on. And as you can see, the price of copper today, it's like reached 340 per pound, and like 350. If it reaches 350 and 4, between that, I mean, that's a complete game changer, because now the mining companies are going to be desperate to acquire projects to bring that copper production into the future. But the point is that the copper demand doesn't depend on flaky investor sentiment. It has nothing to do with this. It has to do everything with everybody around the world wanting copper and consuming copper without even knowing that. So copper is absolutely not a religion like gold and other things, and that's what I like about it. When copper is consumed right away, like gold, it's being stored. So then that supply can always come back on the market. When copper is produced, it's being used up right away in various electronic devices. So obviously, how do you place something like that? Well, obviously you can buy big mining companies like Rio. You can buy maybe smaller mid-size copper producers that maybe will be increasing production, or you can maybe, you know how I play it, or you can buy copper companies that own interesting copper deposits that sometime in the future, in the near future, are going to be acquired by the majors, because the majors have absolutely no choice but to buy those juniors, because mining is a depleting business, so they have to constantly look for new deposits. But when it comes to owning juniors or companies with deposits, you know, it's a tricky game, because, for example, recently, I don't know, a few months ago, if you remember, I made a video about Pebble Copper, and it's located in Alaska. And I think the stock price at that time was over $2 or something like that. Now it's like below 40 cents, because Pebble didn't get the permit. And at that time I was talking about how, you know, I personally wouldn't necessarily want to get involved in Pebble, even though Pebble is a fantastic deposit, but it's really, really risky when it comes to the environmental concerns. I mean, it's located in an area where it would endanger fish, and environmentalists are all over it. And so I got some comment that I don't know what I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah. Well, to me, it doesn't really matter how great a deposit is if it has those environmental concerns. And so you can look at it from two angles. You can look at this Pebble situation as, okay, a potential supply of copper has just been removed from the market because of that permitting situation. And I personally don't see how this Pebble is ever going to become a mine, but that doesn't mean that someone will not make money buying the stock of Northern Dynasty that owns Pebble, because, you know, when stock was at $2, let's say there was a lot of people that were hopeful that this project was going to go somewhere, and now that they didn't receive the permit, there's a fewer people that are hopeful, right? So if, let's say, at $2 you have 10 people that were hopeful, at, you know, 30 something cents you have one person that's hopeful. If you buy it at this point and you correctly predict that in 12 months there's going to be 3 people that are going to be hopeful, then you can make money on that. It's just not my type of game, because I don't know how to measure hope. And to me, if they couldn't get it done during Trump, and you know Trump doesn't care about the environment, if they couldn't get it done under Trump, how are they going to get it done under Biden? So anyway, you can look at it from the point of view that for now, or I think forever, Pebble has been removed from the supply. So now the majors looking at copper projects, they have fewer opportunities to increase their copper production. And now I'm not going to talk about the specific company that I'm involved, a lot of you know, but if you want to play it that way, that you want to own a copper project because you see this dynamic, you have to think about certain things, like your project better be located in a jurisdiction that's pro-mining. It better be located in an area where it's close to existing infrastructure, gas, rail, water, electricity, right? And it has to be in an area where people actually want mining there, instead of some areas it's huge opposition. So you have to have all these elements, and then on top of it you have to have a project that has positive economics, right? If you can't make money from it, it doesn't matter. So anyway, that's it for this video. I had this on my mind for a few weeks now, to talk about how copper is different from gold, and why I personally prefer copper, mostly not because I don't necessarily agree with the gold bugs, but because I don't trust the generalists sticking around with the religion long enough to make me money. And with copper, I don't need religion. So thanks for watching. See you next time.